Hello, bookers and bookettes. Welcome back to the channel, or in some cases, welcome to the channel. I am here with this week's installment of the About the Author segment. Now, if you are a fan of gothic horror or family saga, anything along the weird and wonderful and bizarre and just eerily creepy, perhaps this week's author will come as no surprise. I'm talking about the wickedly wonderful V.C. Andrews. Now, I have not read her books faithfully probably about 20 years. But I think part of the reason is because when I was reading them, I seemed to, I couldn't get enough of them. So, have you ever done anything in excess and then you just kind of find yourself burned out on? For me, it would be, that's happened with two authors. V.C. Andrews is one, and Danielle Steele is another. But V.C. Andrews, my gosh, she was just brilliant, I think, in her crafty storytelling. And she has some stuff about her books that seem to run through most of the ones that I read. I know I read the most famous series, or what did you call it? The Dollenganger? I think those are the last name of the books in her most successful, like The Flowers in the Attic, and then there was 4 books in that series, I know. But anyway, I read more than that, but it's been so long now that I really can't remember, with the exception of about maybe 6 of her books that I actually read. But all that I read, I can't, part of the reason I got burned out is because, they always seem to be set in some remote place in some sort of castle, and the children, obviously, they're always being left to fend, well, not even to fend for themselves. They have just been put away, hidden from the world. And the grandmother in the books that I can remember reading, she seemed to always have some sort of thing about hair. I don't know if the girls, I can't remember the girls going all out of the way in these books to just do things to their hair. It's like she knows that the girl sees their hair, maybe, or maybe she felt that the characters sees their hair as their crowning glory. So whenever, like if she locked them in the castle or room or basement, wherever, for weeks at a time, if she came back and maybe they asked for a piece of bread, she might would go and just get the scissors and cut their hair off. And I don't know, that was always weird to me. And I have discussed it with other friends of mine who have read her books, and we all walk away wondering what kind of childhood did she have, because you can't make most of this stuff up. Well, now I'm going to get into what kind of childhood she may have had growing up. Now, Cleo Virginia Andrews, better known as V.C. Andrews or Virginia C. Andrews, was born on June 6, 1923 in Portsmouth, Virginia. She was the youngest child and the only daughter of Lillian Lenora Parker and her husband, William Henry Andrews. Now, her mother was a telephone operator and her father was a tool and die maker. At some point as a teenager, V.C. Andrews was at school and she fell down a flight of stairs. That fall caused her to spend the rest of her life having to depend on wheelchairs and crutches for the most part. Now, although she had back surgery, it left her with crippling arthritis. So she just had to depend on her wheelchair and crutches, like I said, for the rest of her life. Now, her older brothers, one of them was William Jr., and then she had another brother named Eugene. She grew up attending Southern Baptist and Methodist churches. However, most of the books I can remember reading, if religion was brought up at all, it was always Catholicism. I do wonder sometimes if she herself, after becoming an adult, did she convert to Catholicism? I didn't see anything saying if that was the case. It's just something I always wondered. Because I had no way. I just, reading the books that I read. Now, like I said, it's been over 20 years since I read any of her books. So maybe her later books, maybe she did go back to talking about Southern Baptist churches, or maybe she kept on the Catholicism thing, or maybe she herself converted. I don't know. It's just something I always wondered. But anyway, did you all know this? It was a lot I found out I didn't know about her. I didn't know, for example, that she was known for her she was a portrait painter. She was also an illustrator. She completed a 4-year correspondence course from home because, like I said, she had issues with her mobility. And back then, I imagine it was a lot worse or harder than it is now. As hard as things may be for some people, it's probably harder back then because we're talking about at this time, she was, late teens, early 20s. Well, at age 34, she sat down and she started painting portraits and stuff to help provide for her family after her father's death. He died in 1957. So that would have made her roughly, 33, 34. Now, maybe her brothers were grown and had families of their own at that time. It didn't really say anything about the brothers much, other than that they were older than she was. So, but she did that. Well, in 1975, she wrote a manuscript that became her most successful thing, and I think we all know what that is. Everybody all together. Flowers in the Attic. Flowers in the Attic, not Addict. Now, that was the first of 4 books in that series. I just could not get enough. None of us could. But it was Flowers in the Attic, Petals on the Wind. What was the third book? Hold on. If There Be Thorns. And then the final book was Seeds of Yesterday. Now, I read every last one of those, and I believe it was Lifetime that turned Flowers in the Attic into a movie. And we watched that, my friends and I, we talked about, the difference in between books and movies. Okay. So I have one friend who's a diehard movie buff, and she says, but she also reads a lot. But she said if she ever goes to watch a movie that is an adaptation from a book, she just has to remember to tell herself that this is not going to be the book, okay? She said, because I said, yeah, but you say that, but then you just feel like some things should be about the same no matter what. Because now, like, in movies, they're time constraints. Most movies are, 2 hours, give or take. Books can be 12, however many hours. You can get them long as you want them. If it's a good book, I find nothing more enjoyable than being deep in the middle of a really good book and then knowing I still have about 15, 20 hours in that book. I just love it. But anyway, getting back to B.C. Andrews. When she submitted the manuscript for Flowers in the Attic, goodness, when she submitted the subscript, okay, please forgive me, guys. I guess it's later than I thought. When she submitted her manuscript for Flowers in the Attic, it was given back to her, told her to spice things up and expand on some of the characters. And whoa, spice did she. Now, I don't know what the original manuscript was, but I know she must have been, she probably submitted that manuscript knowing they wanted her to beef it up in a little bit. And the reason I say that is because when she was given the manuscript back, she went and made all of the revisions and expansions overnight. She said that she completed it overnight. Now, like I said, it was written in 1975. I am not sure. I can't remember anyway because I'm going straight off the top of my head now. But if I'm not mistaken, the book was published in either 1979 or 1982. I can't remember, so don't hold me to the exact year. But whenever it was, it hit the bestsellers list in 2 weeks. She went from relatively unknown outside, maybe Virginia, to being known worldwide or nationwide anyway at that time. Now, once that book was as successful as it was, she then published a book every single year from that year until her death. She every book she wrote got bigger and bigger, and her readership just grew in leaps and bounds, and she got bigger advances with the release of each year's book. Now, on December 19th, B.C. Andrews passed away from breast cancer at the age of 63. Once she died, now I know that people have ghostwriters. I say people because if you're not writing yourself, I don't consider you an author. Yeah, you come up with the words, but then if someone else has to take your words and craft them into a story, then that person is the author. You just gave them the idea. But anyway, that's just me. But after she passed away, her family hired a ghostwriter to finish 2 books that she left unfinished. But the majority of both of the books had already been written. He just went in there and sounds like he went in the ghostwriter. The ghostwriter's name is Andrew Niederman. Is that right? Andrew Niederman? Yeah. Did I tell you she died December 19th, 1986? I think I left that part out. I know she died December 19th, 1986 at age 63. And shortly after her death, her family hired the ghostwriter to finish up the last two books. Now, he's gone on and has written several other books under the V.C. Andrews estate, but the two books left uncompleted are Garden of Shadows and Fallen Hearts. And I hadn't read either one of them. Well, when I went to research for this segment, I saw that there's another, is it a book or a movie called Woman Beyond the Shadows, or Woman Beyond the Attic? It's the last book I have here. Woman Beyond the Attic. And they say that this book is the closest that we'll ever get to V.C. Andrews' The Woman. So I'm going to see if I can find this book. I have got to read this because, like I said, I've always had questions. I just don't know why you just have to be so... Because the people in her book, like the grandmother issues, they always sing. And then she deals with the word for family members getting together inappropriately. I'll just phrase it that way. I forgot to say that earlier. But I thought about that, and I thought about the grandmother, and then who do you know? Now, we all know that not everybody is meant to be parents, but who do you know that's going to have 4 children? Or was it 3? It was 3 or 4. You don't want the man you after to know you have any children, so you take them to your mother, and you basically permit your mother to just do whatever with your children. She chose to shut them down there in a castle, and it was nothing. The daughter was okay with it. I don't know where to go. So much so that one of her daughters and her son ended up marrying. Yikes. I don't understand. But anyway, that's hopefully, if I can find this book on audio, hopefully some of the questions I've often wondered through the years, and I know I'm not the only one, but amongst my friends who read, we all had the same questions. And I would love to get some answers to some of them. But anyway, bookers and bookettes, this concludes this week's About the Author segment on Miss V.C. Andrews. I hope you all like it, and I know that I'm not going to have what am I looking for? Because like last week's About the Author, Miss Rashonda Tate Billingsley, I know everybody that I choose is not going to be everybody's cup of tea. But I'm telling you, if you have not read any of her books, you're sleeping on a good one. And that's how I feel about Miss V.C. Andrews. She is also a good one. She shows you how it can be done. And you know what's so scary about her? I don't know what it is, but she, as a female, writes or wrote some of the most dastardly deed stuff and actions and cruelty. And it's stuff that you only usually see in me. But it was scarier to me because she was the woman. But anyway, that's all I have to say. I guess my medicine's kicking in, so I guess I'll sign off now. But as always, subscribers, please don't forget to like and share the video. Visitors, should you happen upon my channel, I welcome you to join. We'd love to have you here. everyone, subscribers and visitors alike. Comment respectfully and hit the notification bell so you'll know every time I upload a video. And now you know the old routine. Book lovers, remember this. As long as there are books around, there's always something to read. Bookers, and, bookettes, bookers, and book lovers alike. Thank you for watching and or listening. Be safe, and God bless.